The podcast you are about to listen to is one of the many podcasts that is part of the College Huddle, the largest fan-led college sports podcast community on the internet. Fan-made, fan-driven, and fan-fueled. The College Huddle.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free!
Okay, next question.
I'm a horse football coach right now.
You know, I got shoved up, shoved it up. I got shoved it up.
What's up, Spartans fans? Episode 41 of the Spartan Savants podcast. We've got the usual crew and a special guest, Nolan, joining us this evening. Some of you may see him on Twitter as Mustachioed Spartan. We're very happy to have him on the show. Always love to have MSU internet personalities on here. Nolan, I think you're our first one, though, but welcome to the show. It's great to have you. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
We're all right, I think.
As good as you can be after that game, I guess.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was feeling better, but then we kind of mentioned it for a bit right before recording, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Relapsed.
I mentioned some stuff to Nikki before you guys got on here, and he was like, "Oh, don't get me started." So,
yeah. Well, we will get into it all. I honestly got no relief from the Lions bashing of the Titans. Like, usually the Lions provide a nice reprieve after a Michigan State loss, but like it's like nothing could get me out of that depression on Sunday. That was just rough. And then we've got Jameson Williams pulling a Mozzie Smith driving around Detroit with a gun in his car. Although they did not find any extra clips, like extra attachments and bullets in the car, I don't think, this time.
it sounded like everything was legal, but they're making a big deal out of it. So I don't know.
I think
Need Eli Savage on the case. I wish he was a Lions fan instead of a Michigan fan.
Oh, and yeah, and then the fight. We'll get into all that, but obviously we have a lot to unpack, and I think we just jump right into it because that was a tough one. I think that we can all agree. It was Michigan State dominated 75% of the first quarter, and I felt very good. And then it just like turned on a dime and never really got it back. Not being able to stop Orgy, I thought was maybe the most frustrating thing I've seen in a while. But Travis, I'll start with you. Knee-jerk reactions, instant takeaways. Where's the head at?
Depression. That was the knee-jerk reaction. It was very much during the game, I didn't feel like there was ever a time where we felt completely out of it, and then we stopped getting stops on defense in the second half. The on kick was very risky and did not turn out well, obviously. Although we did get a stop out of that, so I guess they didn't score. But it took me quite a few days to get over that. I'm probably still not over it. And like you said with Orgy, you had to have known that that's what they were running when he was in the game, and we never adjusted to it whatsoever. And the touchdown run at the end, Howard got a little tied up on the block, couldn't get off the block, and that's what happens. But there was never a time that I felt like we were out of the game, and it kind of felt like the entire time that we were the better team, even though we lost.
Agreed. Let's get Nolan involved early here. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the game, like you said, and even like into the second quarter, this team was really controlling this football game. Mm-hmm. And I really think that the game changed a lot. Nate Carter, I think it was first or third and long, and I think Nate Carter almost got to the first down marker, but just couldn't quite.
Yep.
And that immediate drive afterwards, Michigan got a touchdown. I think the whole kind of our entire game, or like the game, kind of hinged on that play. So that was really tough. And then, Michigan diving into the bag of tricks basically every which way they could. Touchdowns, credit to them for executing, but that was kind of the difference.
Which to that point, how are we not covering Colston Loveland more?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
we left him wide open. He's their only passing target.
The only guy that can hurt.
Scared of him. That's what I was talking about in the pregame. I was scared of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nikki.
I remember someone saying, I won't be mad if Alex Orji beats us with his arm. I will say I would actually have been extremely mad if we lost, if he did end up passing and he was like decent passing. So I would have been mad regardless. That one just do you guys remember like in the first it was like the beginning of the second half, it was like 145 yards to 1.
Yeah.
But,
well, it's kind of 2 games in a row there for that. Like the Iowa game, we started the game out really dominant on defense, and like I know both of those teams are sort of limited on offense, but like we've been sort of starting out like hot, and then maybe in like that third quarter, that's where teams are kind of been getting us all year.
Yeah. I thought I think you mentioned the gosh, I'm trying to Nate Carter coming up short on that third down. You don't fully know it at the time, but like at the time you're like, that feels like it's going to be a turning point, and of course it was. The Childs fumble into the half
was huge.
That was tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that was also kind of like, it's hard. I feel like it's hard for a team when you dominated to go into the locker room, look at the scoreboard, like we're still losing. Like we played so much better than them. I mean, the run game for the first half, pretty much, I thought picked up right where it left off against Iowa. That was probably Nate Carter's best game to date as a Spartan. I mean, he looked like he had something to prove. I don't know where that's been all year. The offensive line looked like it was executing. But the overall problem, it turned as the game went on, we could not pass the ball vertically. I mean, Childs just never had time to get anything going. And that turned out to be a huge problem. I mean, kudos to Michigan. They made adjustments. They started making stops, and we stopped making stops. I mean, it was tough. I mean, it was that game. It sucks when you just feel it slipping away. It's like a slowly just, but it's like you can just feel it the entire time. That's what that second half felt like. The onside kick, I don't know. That's one of those things. If we get it, it looks like a genius. If we don't, it looks like an asshole. Right. The bigger question mark to me, honestly, in those big games, I really do not mind trying something crazy. I wouldn't personally do an onside kick there. I mean, it's too much. It's the risk. It was too much. I mean, the momentum's not really going your way. I get you're trying to change it, but you don't get that, and now it's like, geez, oh Pete, we got a huge, even bigger mountain to climb. The fourth and goal on the 2-yard line, or the 4th and 2 on the first drive, not getting the play in and getting the delay of game penalty was a killer. That you looked at 7 points right there, and then Jonathan Kim uncharacteristically missed the field goal. So that's I think that while it was early and we ended up getting the ball back and scoring, but I still think you look back to that and you got to think about what if. But geez, I mean, just like so many opportunities. I think if you could watch it again, you could find a play probably on every drive. Like, we would have made that. We would be a different game. Would have made that. Would have been a different game.
Yeah, and then you go to the Jordan Turner targeting call in the fourth quarter. That gave them a touchdown. I mean, we're talking about turning points in the game. They're not doing anything on offense, and all of a sudden they get a touchdown after that.
Yeah, hate to blame
difference.
refs, but I don't think the refs are the reason we lost. But it's hard to ignore that. That was one of the worst targeting calls I've ever seen. I mean, that is just two people. He lowered his head a little bit, but
it's called football.
A natural movement. That was two people colliding. I cannot believe it's one thing to uphold it at the big house in a game like that. The fact that there's not an adult in the Big Ten office that can look at that and be like, okay, this is just football. The kid doesn't need to miss the second half of the game is ridiculous. I mean, how can we? I just am beside myself about the targeting call. I have not seen a worse targeting call than that in my entire life. I think that's the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know what targeting is anymore. Probably never did, but yeah,
no one does.
No one knows. No one knows. Yeah,
it's just it's frustrating, and I don't know. I just, I was starting to move on. I'll be honest with you. I kind of had moved on, but this is really reopening the wounds.
this is what happens on the show. Yeah.
I'm getting that again.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, I mean, it's like it was right there. I mean, and I still think we were the better team, and I'm encouraged by Jonathan Smith's post-game press conference. I wish he would have. I really don't think but until you experience it, and it sounds like he understands. Not that he didn't fully understand before, but I mean, when he says it crystallized Saturday night, we won't forget that. I think it's clear to him how important this game is to.
I wish it would have been a little more clear before, just a little bit, not totally, but
yeah.
I will say, Childs and Smith both said they were like, we were part of the Civil War, Oregon State. This was not like that.
This is a new animal. Yeah, totally different animal.
Yeah.
I think they both said both teams really don't like each other.
Yeah. I think this is a few years back, but I was reading something. And it was like they were interviewing like a ref or something, and he was like a Big 12 ref, and he was like, I've reffed every rivalry game, in the Michigan State game is the nastiest. Like, that's just hatred on both sides. And it is. I mean, I hate them. I just hate them so much. And that's why it sucks losing to them. I mean, it's tough, yeah, I mean, it's like, and now I mean, this team still has so much in front of them, but it feels like the season's kind of, it feels like we lost the Super Bowl, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I feel like that was like you knew that you weren't going obviously to compete for a championship this year. Like there's a lot of pieces being put together to try to do that, but like Michigan is your kind of redeeming game for the year. Like if you can get that, you can feel really good about where you're at going forward. And it just sucks to have played that way, to have played essentially a better football game in total, and to not have that win.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we went 2-6 during the COVID year, and I have fond memories about that because we beat Michigan.
Because we beat Michigan, yeah.
Right. That's absolutely right. I mean, you think about that game. You really don't even remember the rest of the games from that season because we have that game, and even like this season, that win would have gone a long way. I mean, 5-3 looks a lot different than, or what is it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 5-3,
5-3, 4-4. Yeah.
Yeah. 4-4. And no, really outside of Purdue, really no gimmies left in the schedule. So, what would have looked like a really nice rest of the season has kind of turned into, holy shit, we better win some games now. But yeah, man, I don't even really know where to go. So if people want to riff on this some more, I feel like I can just go in circles.
Yes, I can help you with that.
Nick, ready to go. It's been
2 words that we just must get out of the way. Red zone. We got to finish in the red zone.
Yeah.
Like we would be 6-2 and maybe even -1 blowout, like one just regular loss, if we could just finish a little bit more in the red zone. Like, God, like we're ranked like 129th or something.
It's bad.
Yeah.
And they have no problem getting down there. I mean,
no,
they move the ball, and you're like, what? Well, nothing could stop these guys. And then they get inside the 20, and it's like they throw on the brakes.
We're too
reminds
close.
me a lot of the Lions of 2022 and during their 1-6 period, when it was like, man, how are we losing all these games? Like, we look so good at times, and just those stupid mistakes. We just got to learn how to win. There's a lot of loser on the roster.
You talk about that a lot, Nicky, the snowball effect almost. And it's like, you look at Boston College was a close game. Obviously we got blown out by Ohio State and Oregon, but it's almost like this team just doesn't. I don't know how to say it, but like, because you saw it against Iowa, but like, they don't fully know how to win yet. Like that game was there, and it's like they just couldn't execute. And maybe it's like a belief thing. Like they just don't have that winning time or the beliefs in themselves that they can win. Because you're right. I mean, it's the roster, especially the people that have stayed. It's guys that are used to losing. I mean, it sounds bad, but that's what we've been for the past couple of years. So there probably is some self-doubt and just not a full understanding of what it takes to win those games, and that can be the difference, obviously. So
yeah, not to bring up Indiana, but I feel like that's kind of what they have going right now is because they have winners from JMU that Cignetti brought over. I think that mentality really helps in the locker room.
It's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. Not one of Joe Rossi's best performances. Not to totally just go out of off on a tangent here, but we definitely will talk more about Indiana. Not one of Joe Rossi's best performances. I thought to start, they looked fantastic. That first drive when Davis Warren had all day to throw on third down, and then he just threw it in the dirt. I just started laughing. I was like, we're not going to lose this game. Like I was cracking up. I was crying. Yeah. It was like we gave him all day to throw, which we did all night in the end. That's another point. Just zero pressure on the quarterback. But I was very encouraged, and we kept stopping them. They could not get anything going. And then, and I touched on this a little bit earlier. The orgy runs, I think, were the really frustrating part to me. I mean, when he's in the game, he's either going to hand it off, or he's going to run it.
He can't throw a forward pass.
You don't really have to be worried about the pass. And then someone touched on it. I'm not sure who it was. I can't remember, but not covering Colson Loveland. I mean, he is the only guy that can hurt you. They have no other threats. When they can get the ball to them, he's the only guy they can get the ball to. That's a problem. So the guy's coached a great defense all year. You don't want to, this game is so heightened. I don't want to be overzealous in my commentary, but it's this is a hard one to move on from. Just disappointing performance all around, I think, from the coaching staff.
We did hold them to only 265 yards of offense, which is pretty good. But I'm looking at this game summary and the box score, and it's pissing me off. Good God.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just we gained them 352 to 265. We had 163 yards on the ground. We had the ball for 15 more minutes. Six penalties, 35 yards. Michigan,
0
goose egg. Goose egg.
Apparently, it's possible to play perfect football.
I guess.
So common in football. No penalties.
No penalties. Yeah. The box score is tough to look at. I mean, if you just put that up blank, Team A, Team B, I think 99% of people would say, "Oh, Team A won the game." I mean, we dominated, but just the timeliness of the stops did not happen. There was. And then the second half, it just felt like they put a wall up against the end zone, and we couldn't get past it. I mean, it's like couldn't move the ball, and the offensive line could not give Charles enough time, like I talked about. But the defensive line, who I thought has played pretty good all year, just no pressure on the quarterback, which is like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think Michigan's offensive line was all that good. It's just disappointing to see the.
Well, I think I saw a stat that we have like 1 sack in Big Ten play so far.
Yeah,
which it can't happen. Like you got to get pressure there.
Yeah, even versus bad quarterbacks.
Yeah. Especially against bad quarterbacks, man. Make that mistake.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like there was when you're watching Michigan, like Michigan's best chance to win any football game is to get ahead. They can't play from behind,
right? And
like I think even though their offense, obviously they had to get in the bag of tricks, like. The fact that they were able to get any lead was kind of the difference because I don't think we played well from behind either.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That fumble, like going like Willie said earlier, going down at halftime, it was like I FaceTimed you, Willie, and I just saw the fear of like God in your eyes.
Yeah.
Like, you looked broken. You were like, game over. It's like, okay, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I mean, well, I just had like how
outside for.
Yeah.
How could we be losing? Like, I just was like, I was stunned, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the players felt the same way. But on that point, if you're Jonathan Smith, and I know it's easy to Monday morning quarterback this, do you just take the knee there?
Like you can't, like not. Yeah,
it's like one of those like worst. That's just a worst case scenario thing. Like
Right.
we do that 10 times, 8 times we probably are fine. Because wasn't that a bad punt too?
Yeah.
I don't really remember.
I think they played it right. I'll be honest. Like they ran the ball on first down and they got a nice chunk of yards. And then I think you do take a shot. I think it's hard to point the finger at the coaches for that one. Childs just has to feel that pressure.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Nikki right after it happened. Need to have that internal clock going.
Yeah, it just.
I think anytime you get them scrambling, like I think they need to do a better job of getting Childs in a position to succeed. Like like he's just kind of a young quarterback. He doesn't have a ton of experience, and that's kind of a big moment there, driving down the field, seconds left on the clock. Like, just give him something a little easier for him.
Yeah, I agree. No doubt, and he's growing. I mean, it's he made some great plays, obviously too, both with his arm and his feet. And
hasn't thrown an interception in a while. It's been like 3 games.
Yeah,
Did he throw an interception against Iowa?
He threw one. Yeah, he threw one.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's kind of an underrated piece, though, the offensive line play. Like, they've been really solid these last couple of games.
It's been crazy how much better they've been.
Yeah, it looks totally different, especially in the run game. They got the pass blocking. I think they're a little behind on. But it's funny. Like, Childs is just like one of those like. He's like the definition of like, oh my God, what's he doing? Oh, great play. Like, he gets out of the pocket and you just don't know what's going to happen. He could throw a pick, he could fumble, or he could take off and run for 50 yards. Like it's like totally like a Yahtzee. Like anything could happen right now.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's way more fun than it was the last 2 years when it was just like
absolutely. I mean, at least we're in these games, like. That's a plus. I wish they would get Childs a little more involved in the run game. I feel like he could be very effective in the read option, especially like a 3rd and short or 4th and short. Like, like it just feels like we're not. And this kind of goes back to some of the stuff that Mel Tucker and Jay Johnson were doing. Like 3rd and short, why does Childs have his back to the line and it takes him forever to get the ball to the running back? And it's just like these slow developing run plays just piss me off on like 3rd and 1. You need to fall forward for a yard. Either have Childs QB sneak or get the ball to the running back's hands as quick as possible so he can full steam ahead and fall forward. Like these slow developing run plays is just, and it's like a through 2 or 3 different coaches we've seen it, and it's like the jet sweep thing. It's like, why do we keep doing this?
Oh,
yeah, sweet. I don't understand why Nate Carter standing 7 or 8 yards behind the line on that 1-yard plays. It's like just brutal. And we saw it, like you said, we saw it through Mel Tucker. We saw it with D'Antonio. There was multiple games where we lost 4th and 1s because we have running backs way behind the line of scrimmage. It makes 0 sense.
Makes no sense. And the QB sneak, it's like the easiest play. I mean, like, I don't understand why. And it seems like Michigan State's the only team that's not good at it. Like, we've seen them try, and they just don't get it. Like I don't understand how that's a play we have not figured out how to run with a 6'4" quarterback.
Like with Noah Kim last year, I was like, sure, I guess, but like, come on, Childs is 6'4". He's athletic, like just little. Come on.
Yeah, I mean it's
really something.
Yeah, and then obviously the fight at the end of the game.
I really don't think that's a big deal, to be honest.
I do not appreciate the Big Ten moving on so quickly from the whole thing after the tunnel. I think that is a slap in the face to all Michigan State fans, players across the board. It's an absolute, we don't really care about you. If it was flip-flopped, I feel like they'd still be looking into it.
I do not appreciate the comments that Mullings was playing superhero as well. Like, that's total bullshit.
Yeah.
Literally stomping on somebody. Like,
Some of the things they do amuse me. Like they had such a it's almost beautiful how much of just a Michigan ending of the game that was. Like Colston Loveland headbutts Anthony Jones and just goes insane like, oh yeah, little bro. They're doing little bro things like, dude, you started that fight, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
come on.
I was happy to get a little bro comment.
Yeah. Like, please.
More fire. More fuel for the fire.
Like if Jonathan Smith doesn't just completely hate them by the end of that night, I question his character.
It's such an easy thing to do.
It's one of the. They're so easy.
They're so out of touch with reality. It's crazy.
It's a beautiful thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Also Loveland, he was 3-0 against us. Like he can talk shit, whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't go to the Lions because I just don't want him. I would like to I want to just.
Nah.
No, he doesn't have the same likability as Hutchinson, honestly.
Give him to Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But to your point, I think with the Big Ten, like Michigan State's got to be, I don't know. I just feel like we're always the one kind of to back down in these situations. We're like, oh, okay, like whatever, we'll get out of your way. Sorry about that. Like we need to, you have to put them in their place when you can. And this was a time you probably could, or at least try.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the 5 night games. Nolan, I don't know how you feel about them, but I'm sure you don't love. Or sorry, 7 night games. Sorry, guys, 7 night games.
Yeah.
Like
you're supposed to have 3.
We gotta have we gotta like I like Alan Haller's made some good hires, but he's got to do something. He's got to be like, look, we're not a second class institution. Like we're not just your whipping boy.
I was just gonna say, you took the words out of my mouth. Like it feels like we're a punching bag. Like, and I was just gonna say, I like Alan Haller. I think he's made some good hires, but I do think there's something to be said. At some point, you have to look. We got walked all over in the tunnel situation. We are getting walked all over with the guy on the Central Michigan sidelines. For whatever reason, we're still agreeing to play them in whatever season, and we're going to pay them all this money. We got walked all over again here with this. I mean, they didn't take even a day. It was like the next day they're like, yeah, nope, nothing to see here. We're moving on. Like it's that tunnel thing went on for weeks, months. They were reviewing that footage forever, and it's like I'm tired of being this punching bag. And the night games, it's like no one else has to play 7 night games. You're supposed to have like 3. And then it's like, well, you guys wanted this Friday night game, so we gave that to you. So now we're going to tack on some extra night games. Like, that's not how this works. That's like, this is like, give me a break. Like, I'm tired of being the punching bag. I was encouraged when Alan Haller came out and said, I want the same treatment. Like, I think it should be go both ways. And then it was just like totally backed down when they said it was inconclusive. Like,
I don't understand how that's inconclusive. I mean, even if we have to take a little bit of punishment.
I mean, just do like Jones and Loveland suspended for a half, whatever. Like,
something.
Yeah,
it's very clear video evidence. It's like they didn't even watch the video.
And I just love Sharon Moore could have easily just been like, yeah, it was little like something easy, like, oh, we could have handled that with more class.
Right.
Not Nick Mullins, whatever his name.
Michigan class.
What the hell are you talking about? He's out the first drive. Like,
yeah. The problem is I think we've got an administration.
Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh no.
Yeah, it's
introduced to it. Oh, am I?
We got it.
You're back.
Okay, sorry. I think we just don't have like the coaches or the athletic director that hates Michigan like we need them to. Like, I think that it's really important to hate Michigan because that's what's going to like allow you to have that feeling of like standing up for yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it always feels safe. Like it feels like they're always taking the safe route. Like Harbaugh and Jabba the Hutt Manuel, as much as I hate them, they couldn't, after the tunnel situation, they couldn't wait to get behind a microphone. Jabba wanted to eat it, but they couldn't wait to get behind a microphone and say, you know, how awful the tunnel was, and we just have like, oh yeah, like, hey, Big Ten, can you take a look at this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of our players might have gotten hurt, and the staffer was getting stomped on. Did you just take a look at this? Oh, okay, nothing. All right, we'll talk to you later. How many night games next year? Oh, okay, 8. Yep, whatever you need. Like it just like it's safe. It's there's not enough like, and sometimes just be like, I hate Jim Harbaugh, but like, you know, if Alan Heller had some of the rhetoric that Jim Harbaugh had after the tunnel, we maybe, you know, and I don't really, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not like no one got their head bashed in with a helmet or anything, and I think everyone's okay. But it's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, and if that was one of our players doing that, they'd be screaming for life in prison immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing too. Is like the way that would get spun is you know, we all know how that would go.
There's such a dirty program.
They want our players hung. So
I mean, the thing is, Heller acted like a reasonable person. He's like, hey, yeah, could you guys take a look? We don't want any like criminal activity or anything. Like, you know, let's take a look. Like, that's how it's just that like the bad guys use bad tactics, and it's not cool.
The dirty tactics. They're terrorists.
Okay. I had something else.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, could you imagine? I don't even want to like speak it into existence, but I'm going to. I could see, like, you know, after all the controversy we've had at the Michigan State games, just starting next year, we're going to try next year. That's going to be at Ford Field, and just take away one of our games.
So gross.
Oh, yeah. But I could totally see that.
Like, you trying to make me puke, man? Come on.
It's disgusting. I mean, the whole thing. I honestly, I get so annoyed too by the people who are like, hey, maybe we should just take a year off from this rivalry. We'd like to tone things down. Like, no, like this is it. Like this is what we signed up for. Like, honestly, like the fight, it pisses me off. Like, I don't care if they happen every year. Like it's part of being in this thing. You're just, it is what it is. And when you're on the losing side, it fucking sucks.
But when you're on the winning side, oh man,
it's the greatest high in the world. I mean,
it's like when in 2014 when they planted the stake and then Connor Cook ran over Michigan linebacker. Like, it was great.
That's right.
When it got shoved.
We just run the ball into the end zone with like 30 seconds left when you're already up 3 touchdowns. That's
the mentality.
That's right. That's right. I do think we're going to get them next year.
I would say that regardless, but like, but I mean, the thing is, like, you can't just fake a hatred to Michigan, because like that, if like that would be annoying if Jonathan Smith was like he just isn't. No one will ever be as cool as D'Antonio. I think we just have to like realize.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Jonathan Smith's his own guy.
Yep.
You know he just hates them. I mean,
there's
he's an Oregon State like god, and he's saying like this is nothing like the Civil War.
Yeah.
This is honestly, it might even be more hatred than the American Civil War. Like,
probably true. Yeah. No, but you're absolutely right. I wouldn't want him to be disingenuous with his hatred. It's something that it needs to fester. He needs to, and for better or for worse, he needs to feel that loss for 360 whatever more days, because that's where the hatred comes from. I'm glad there was a fight in his first game, because that's going to add to it. And he will never be Mark D'Antonio. He's just different. Like, he's his own guy, like you said, Nick, and he's a little more mild mannered. And he's probably never going to say things like D'Antonio, but his hatred will be shown in different ways, I think.
Beating him is the best,
and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
beating
winning
is the best way to do it.
Yes. Yep. I agree. Anything else on Michigan? I feel like hit all the bases. I mean, it's a tough one to swallow for sure.
It's disgusting. Oh, I do like how Jonathan Smith specifically mentioned the tunnel as like part of the reason why the rivalry is so bad. He's like, walking around. He's like, their tunnel. You're just walking around them nonstop. It's crazy. I just got to smell horrible.
Did you guys hear on the Graham Couch podcast how Michigan 2018 supposedly left shit feces on the walls or something in the locker room?
I'm gonna be honest. I almost don't believe it because, like, if that did happen, we didn't tell anyone. That actually makes me more angry. Like that should have been on like the front page of the New York Times.
I agree. Like if that's true and we just sat there and took it, I mean that's totally unacceptable.
Like, if I knew that in the moment, I would be running around the city of Dallas where I live, just telling talking to people in the street, being like, "Look at what they did to us." Like,
yeah, that's pretty much me with the tunnel. Was me with the tunnel in New York. They're sick.
I think our AD was Bill Beekman at the time, so I'm not sure he probably would feel compelled to do anything.
He wouldn't have done shit.
He was kind of a nothing burger.
Yeah,
he was. I don't know. Underqualified comes to mind when describing Bill Beekman.
It's one word.
Yeah.
I will say Bill Beekman got put in a really tough spot having to replace Mark D'Antonio in like February. I mean, that's just. But that also goes like he should not be in that role. Like he should not be left with that decision to begin with. But that's tough. It's where you just wish Hollis could have hung around for a little bit longer.
True.
Good old Larry. The gift that keeps on giving.
Okay.
Oh, that's the reason he stepped down, right?
I know. I didn't think it needed to be mentioned.
Anyways, we got another big one this week. Indiana at home for the Old Brass Spittoon. Indiana's ranked 13th. They have been blowing people out. I mean, they're averaging 46.5 points a game. Now you look at the schedule. It's not the same schedule Michigan State's played. There's no Oregon. There's no Ohio State. There's not even a Michigan or really probably an Iowa on there. But they're taking care of business. I mean, this is what you should do versus teams that you're better than, and they are. Signetti has them rolling, and I think Nolan made a great point about bringing in winners from JMU. I really did not think that the JMU level would translate to the Big Ten, but I don't know if it's scheme or the talent is just there. But Indiana is rolling, and they're coming in as 8-point favorites, I think, on the road. So a tall order here. We got to bounce back. Nolan, I'll start with you. What are your initial thoughts on Indiana in this one?
Well, I watched them a little bit last week when they played Washington. So I was like kind of following this like Curtis Rourke situation. Like, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? I don't have any clue. Like, he's been really good this year, like almost 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, like pretty efficient. But their backup, I don't really recall his name. See if I can find it.
Just looking at it.
Trey Jackson or Taven Jackson. Like, he was actually.
Did we lose him again?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I do think Curtis Rourke is going to play, from what I can tell.
Sounds like it, yeah. But Nolan, I think we lost you there for a bit. But I think
sorry.
we were going. No, it's all right. Taven Jackson, 23 for 37 on the year, 350 yards, 62% completion percentage. Like, it's I don't think he's any slouch. But to Nick, I think you mentioned it sounds like Rourke is going to play. Is that right? It sounds like he's going to play. I'm asking you.
Yeah.
So I do wonder, what was his injury again? Was it what was it?
It was thumb.
So I wonder, like, it's almost maybe better, like a little banged up thumb injury,
right?
Maybe versus a fully healthy backup who seems to be pretty solid too. I just feel like this has got to be Indiana's, like, they haven't been tested yet. And I feel like every week we're like, oh, well, Washington might give them a run or Nebraska might give them a run. And I keep saying they haven't been tested, but I feel like this is the best team they've played, in all honesty. But Trav, what about you?
Yeah, I think we probably are the best team that they've played. It's just, you look at their stats and it's like their running game averages 5 yards a carry, 30 touchdowns on the season. They have 4 receivers with at least 3 touchdown catches.
Yeah, and 4 receivers with over 25 catches.
I mean, yeah, it's like it'd be crazy if they were doing this against good competition, but like you said, they've beaten the shit out of the teams that they're playing for the most part.
They've also only gone on the road twice. They're playing the Michigan schedule.
Yeah,
right.
True. What I think helps us a little bit is our defense has been very good outside of those 2 games with Oregon and Ohio State.
Yeah,
23rd in the country, held everybody else under 300 yards of offense. So hopefully we can get something there. But I guess Indiana, like, I honestly haven't gotten to watch them very much this year, but they're much better than we expected. And I didn't expect anything like that out of Rourke this year when I heard he was transferring in. And
I'll tell you
whatever they're doing it's working so far. Hopefully it stops working for us. Especially we need to keep one of our rivalry trophies for once.
Yes.
I mean, jeez.
I will say, the last 4 teams we played was like, I mean, I think we could all agree they were all better than us in the trenches, talent wise. And I just don't know if Indiana has that. Like, they're really good scheme. They're good athletes, but they're JMU, like they're JMU transfers. They're Indiana players. They're not the big time talented recruits. So we might even be able to out talent them a bit. And I do think Jonathan Smith is a good enough coach to where we might even be able to out coach Signetti in a way. Because again, I mean, he's been playing nobodies for the most part at home. And I don't know. It just, if we can just finish in the red zone,
right?
Yeah.
Don't let them take a lead.
Again.
They're kind of like the Vikings this year. Like, they just take leads and they don't let up. Let's be their 2021 Purdue game that ruins everything.
Right. Yeah. I think it's another great opportunity, really, to ruin someone's season, and
really the last one.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm with you, Nick. Like, I just have a hard time believing that Michigan State at home, like, is this is going to be this is a big game for Indiana, and they've got bigger games down the road. They still have to play Ohio State, I think. So, like, this could be a good opportunity to maybe catch them sleeping a little bit. I mean, when you're just beating the mess out of people like they are, like, this is kind of one where you probably come in thinking you're going to do the same thing, and you get caught looking forward a little bit or sleeping. And I think at home, Michigan State, they're coming off a brutal loss. They got to be a little pissed off. Hopefully, it's more of a pissed off, ready to get back to action than deflated, kind of like how we feel right now. I'll tell you what's not going to work is if we cannot get pressure on that quarterback. I don't care if his thumb is broken or not. If he has all day to throw, he will tear us apart. He's completing like 75% of his passes. And he does not turn the ball over. So we've got to find a way. One sack against Big Ten teams is not good. We've got to find a way to get some pressure on the quarterback because he is not Jack Tuttle. He's not Davis Warren. Like, this guy's legit. And
Well, I think you got to hope your run game transfers over too. Like, that's been like, you did it against Michigan, you did it against Iowa, 2 really good fronts. Like, it needs to transfer over. Like, you almost really want to turn this game into a rock fight, just the way that Indiana's played on offense. Like, you got to hope that this is like a 20-17 kind of game that would really fit MSU's mold of how they want to beat them.
Yeah. Much like we should have. We were probably trying to do versus Oregon and Ohio State. You have to keep that offense off the field.
Right.
Get that ball out of the quarterback's hands. The weapons, Trav, you were talking about, and they have 4 receivers that have 20 catches or more. And that, like, caught me by surprise. At first, it seemed like a lot. So I just looked at Michigan State quickly to see because I was like, Michigan State probably has nothing near that. We actually have 3 receivers that have over 25 catches.
That makes sense.
One's a tight end, Marsh, Foster, and Velling. So maybe it's not all that. Maybe it's not all that great. But I mean, they distribute the ball well. They have two very solid running backs. The running backs have combined 17 TDs. The two main running backs, I should say.
Yeah.
Maybe it's.
What concerned me more wasn't the volume of catches, but the volume of touchdown catches. Like they
Right.
have all those receivers have at least 3 touchdowns. I doubt we have anybody like that on. Or
No.
multiple
I mean,
people
Bell's
on
has
our-
thrown like 8 touchdowns, so not possible.
No,
Yeah,
I think
was
I mean
gonna say.
all of it concerned me. I mean, 4 receivers with over 20 catches seemed like a lot. And then it's like, well, one of them's averaging 18 yards a catch. The other's averaging 22 yards a catch. And then the other 2 are averaging almost 12 or almost 13. And they all have, 3 TDs, 4 TDs.
And they have one guy that left.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Yeah. But I think, a lot of these Michigan State games, I think it does come down to the trenches. I mean, it's like you said, Nick, I don't know if they've been tested in the trenches. Nebraska looked very good against Ohio State. They looked terrible against Indiana. I don't know what happened there. I thought that would be a good test for them. It didn't turn out to be that way. But this is definitely a game that you want to be ugly. Because if it turns into a scoring fest, Michigan State has proven they probably don't have the offense to keep up with that, especially with our inability in the red zone. It's another game. I don't think field goals are going to get it done unless it turns into that really sloppy game. The defense plays really well, which we have seen them do. They've kept us in a lot of games early, especially like that Oregon game. I mean, that could have been. It turned out it got bad quickly. When it got bad quickly. But I mean, they kept us in that for a little bit, as long as they could. And the same with Ohio State. Eventually they can only bend so far before they break. But obviously, we're not playing Oregon or Ohio State this week. So if the defense can just play like it has been the past couple weeks, if they hold Indiana to 17, 20 points, I think we got a good chance here. And I think 8 points favor. Indiana favored by 8 points on the road. I don't see it. I think Nick mentioned the talent level. Like I think the talent level is pretty comparable. Their quarterback has played better than ours. I don't know how much better he is. I haven't watched a ton of them. The statistics are obviously
he's
through
much
the roof.
older.
Yeah, but I was gonna say probably more mature. But the trenches is what's gonna in the running game. You keep building off the running game. Hopefully, the pass blocking can take a step forward because Childs, when he gets the time and like the receivers are doing a pretty good job of being open. I was really pretty concerned about the receiver or coming into this season, and they've actually not been bad. I mean, Nick Marsh being a factor is huge. Foster's been good. Velling seems to be coming on a little bit here, so you could keep building off the run game and just get Aiden some time. I think this should be a great game. ESPN, again, the matchup predictor has Indiana 83% chance of winning.
Just
Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
BSP.
I think ESPN FBI has been off for. I mean, it's such a poor way that they grade teams. It's super not accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, they got Iowa wrong, obviously, for Michigan State. So I'm really excited for this game. Anytime you're playing for the old Brass Spittoon in East Lansing, it's a big one.
How could you not?
But I think it makes it even better that Indiana's coming in as hot as they are. I could forget a lot pretty quickly if Michigan State. I'll never truly move on, but if we win this one, that would help a lot.
It would be funny if Jonathan Smith thinks that this rivalry is just as intense as Michigan, and he's just super fired up for it, and just press conference like those pieces of filth.
He's like, I'm not making a mistake again.
It'll never be over.
Step on their throats. Yeah.
I do have a feeling we are going to really dislike Kurt Signetti by the end of this game. He's going to do something really annoying, I think.
I told you, he's cut from the same cloth.
Awful.
Yeah,
he's going to complain about something that's just going to annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah.
The Google Me comment was like, that's super arrogant. I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's out there. He is. I mean, there's
Jim
part
Harbaugh.
of it that I really like, and there's part of it like, oh, this is just Jim Harbaugh 2.0. Like I told you guys about that one like interview. Like they stopped him on the way to the locker room. They asked him a question. He just like grunted at the reporter. Like he's fucking nuts. Like I kind of like it, but I'm also like, damn. They're like, I don't want to lose to this guy because he's an asshole.
Well, I feel like Indiana's got kind of a history of that. Like Tom Allen was a jerk too. That guy dude was a maniac.
Yes, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he gives me Chris Holtman vibes though. Like just
Chris Holtman.
he's gonna complain about something like
What's
the
this
band playing too loud.
What's this dog doing on the field catching frisbees? You're right. Like that's something he's gonna complain about. Yeah.
It's a good thing we didn't schedule him for senior day then.
Oh, I wish we
Any other thoughts on Indiana before we move along here? It's a big one.
I just think that the Spartan Stadium's got to be rocking. Like I think it's important to keep fan support, like for this rebuild to really work, for players to buy in, recruits to buy in. So I'm hoping that there's a good crowd there.
Yeah, I second that. I think it's really important, and I think we've done a good job all season with that. I do think people are pretty excited about where the direction we're heading in. Like they're like we've lost games, and we've probably lost a couple games we should have won, but they're like it's a competent sideline. Like it just looks and feels different. But I agree, it's definitely important to keep the support going. Can't lose steam here.
One question I have, I don't know if you guys know, but we're doing the black jerseys this weekend.
Yes.
Interesting that we're doing that on our like first day game of the year for the most part.
Well, I heard all year that we were going to save them for Purdue, and then they roll them out for the 3:30 game. So
I will say though, I do think you can say that because we've had so many night games and we've had hard times, like the Jonathan Smith era truly was born in the darkness. Like
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. How do you guys feel about the black jerseys?
I like them.
I like them. Yeah,
I like them. I like them too. I think Jonathan Smith has done a really good job of keeping the uniforms classic. I liked some of the stuff that Tucker was doing with the helmets. I thought the script helmet was really cool. I've wanted one of those for years, but it got to the point where he had too many helmets. Yeah. I mean, you really should only have two. Like, we're not Oregon. We don't need to be Oregon. And it's like a different helmet for every game is absurd.
When we went 11-2, it was when we went 11-2, it was a lot cooler.
Yeah.
It's fun when they're winning.
Yeah, I agree. But black jerseys, I probably would have saved them for a Friday night game. I think that makes the most sense. But you know what? If we win, I really don't care when they wear them.
Well, they redeem them. They
probably don't wear them ever again.
Yeah, let's retire them. Yeah. I mean, you should have one alternate uniform that you bring out every year. Michigan State's kind of gotten away. They had the best uniforms they ever had were with the bronze helmets. That Kirk Cousins jersey that you have, Nick, those were. And I don't know how those have never made their way back, or why they ever left, because that was the only alternate uniform you ever needed. And then we went with the neon, and that was terrible. So I don't know how we got so far away from the best, what I think was the best alternate uniform, maybe in college football. But for the love, I don't know how we can't bring those back. But it seems like it would be wildly popular. But the fuck do I know? All right, is that it? We got good on Indiana.
I think so.
I guess so.
All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, Miss the Vis.
Let's do it.
Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Miss the Vis.
All right, so this one will be pretty. We'll see.
Got a feeling this is going to be pretty hard after the couple weeks off.
Yeah, this one's not easy.
Are we going to give this some competition here and get Nolan involved? See if he who can guess it first.
Yeah, if you want to do some MSC trivia, we have the top 10 single season rushing touchdowns players. I'm going to give you how many there were, and then the year. Some of them might not give. Yeah, then the year, and then you're gonna have to guess who it is. So, tie for 10, both 16. One was 1987, other was 1996.
96, 87. Cedric Irvinholm.
Yes.
Okay.
96.
Wow, that's incredible. I've never heard that name in my life.
Oh, really? I'm drawing a blank on 87.
I think I know who it is. I just don't remember the name.
Lorenzo White, is it?
Lorenzo White.
Yep.
It was it? Oh, I was thinking he was a little earlier. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
For whatever reason, I couldn't draw the name.
Yeah.
Number 9, 17 touchdowns, 1985. And it is one of the players that we just said.
Okay, that was Lorenzo White again.
Lorenzo White.
That was where I was going with that anyway. Yeah.
All right, number 8. Another tie for number 8 was 17, 1995. This player has not been said yet. 17 touchdowns, 1995.
Tico Duckett?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No,
I don't even remember what he played. I was just throwing a name out there.
I don't have it.
It is Scott Green.
Yeah, never would have had that in a million years.
No, I wouldn't have either.
All right. So 3-way tie for number 5 with 18. With 18 touchdowns. 2 of them are in our era. One of them was 1971.
Oof.
Oof.
If you guys don't know this, I'm not going to say it.
Is what 1971 one? Yeah, no one's getting that one.
It's Eric
No
Allen.
one's getting.
Eric Allen. Oh.
Okay.
And the other 2, 18 touchdowns. The years. If I tell you the years, it's going to give it away.
Well, what do you mean by our era? Like when we were there?
Like Antonio?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'll just give you one of them. The year is 2013 and 2021.
Okay.
Oh,
so
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker and Langford.
Jeremy Langford?
Yep.
Okay.
Number 4 with 19. This is 1989. This player has not been mentioned yet.
1989.
I've never heard this name.
Brutal on the 90s,
never heard
80s,
the
and
name?
90s.
Yeah, no, really.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Good luck with this one, fellas.
I'm wrecking. Nah, I feel like this is too early, but Azor.
Oh my god!
Oh my fucking god! How did you get that?
Wow.
Okay, nice. I've never heard that
That's
name in my life.
Oh my
right.
gosh!
Now, 3rd place with 21 touchdowns. And this is the 2007 season.
It's
oh my god!
It's one of 2.
I'm trying. Why don't I? No, come on. Oh god! Why am I? I'm struggling. 23 is the number, right? Player?
So that would be Javon Ringer.
Javon Ringer.
It's wrong.
Jehu
Really?
Aldrich.
Yep.
Oh, shoot.
And then
he got all the yard carries or whatever at the goal line.
Tie for first
big
place.
260-pound guy. Yeah.
22 touchdowns. 2008 and 2014.
Jeremy Langford and
2008. 2008 would have to be Ringer.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, we did.
Good showing.
The only one we didn't get was Eric Allen, and I think Scott Green. But or did this get Scott Green?
No, I've never heard of him in my life.
I think Blake Ezor was
And I got Lorenzo White. for 1985 or 1987. I mean,
And who was the
Pretty good.
bonus question? 1989 against Northwestern with 6 touchdowns. Who has the most touchdowns in single game history at Michigan State?
Is it Ezor again?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Number 2 is a tie. Javon Ringer and K9.
5.
5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Blake Ezor.
That's right.
Never heard of that person in my entire life.
Like Ezor, J.Q.
Touchdowns is
Colquitt.
kinda crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
There
that
was like a documentary on him like going through depression after his playing career or something like that.
Yeah.
That's very
Showed
sad.
up. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
It was,
I hope he's doing all right.
yeah.
All right, time for the picks.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Igor's dead.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, nope. I read that wrong. He's not. He's good.
Okay, phew. Thank gosh. Okay, solid week last week for 2 of us. Travis 9-7, Willie the Kid 11-5. Nice week for me, I must say. Nikki 7-9, not bad, respectable.
That win percentage on mine, by the way, is a typo. It's 508, not 580.
Oh, well, there you go. Cooking the books over there. Look at that. But Travis, 1 game up on Willie, 4 games up on Nick. Travis, the only one with a winning record so far through week 9. Week 10, obviously, we've got special guest picker this week, Nolan. We will see how you do. The first game of the week is going to be Friday night special. San Diego State traveling to Boise to take on the Boise State Broncos on the Smurf turf. Boise State ranked 15th, favored by 23.5. We'll go Trav, Nikki, then Nolan.
Yeah, I'll go boy. Ashton Genty, Frisco Lone Star alum. Little North Texas flow there.
Yeah, and I know a player on Boise State, so I'll go with them.
All right.
I'm hoping Genty gets back on track to break a record, but I'll go with Boise.
I am going to ride with Boise as well. I don't think they're losing on the Smurf turf. Okay, heading to the Southeastern Conference for a number 19 Ole Miss traveling to Fayetteville to take on the Razorbacks of Arkansas. Ole Miss favored by 7 in this one.
Yeah, I'll take Ole Miss. If it was more, I'd go with Arkansas, but
I'm going to go Arkansas for my father-in-law.
I'm going to go
Smart.
Arkansas just because I think Ole Miss is kind of, I don't know. I haven't seen them play really good football lately, so I'm going to go with Arkansas.
A little shaky. Arkansas has been not bad this year. At home, I don't know. I like Jackson Dart. I'm going to take the Rebs. I'll side with this here. Go with Ole Miss. All right, a little bit of everything this week. We've got a armed forces game here. Air Force, the Falcons, traveling to Army, who was ranked 21st in the nation. Army favored by 22.5 in this one.
get a little pause on that, but I'm going to go Army.
That's really big, so I'm going to go Air Force.
I think I'm going to take Army laying the points here. I like them.
Oh, this is a tough one. Both teams going to run the ball. Army looks good. You know what? I'll side with Nikki here. I'll take Air Force. Hopefully this game's just too short for one team to get 3 scores ahead. All right, a big one in West Lafayette, Indiana. The Northwestern Wildcats heading on the road, leaving their temporary stadium to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. You wouldn't believe it, but Northwestern is favored by 1 on the road.
I'll take Northwestern. Purdue's pretty damn bad.
I'll give Purdue a stake. It's time for them to
Steak.
They're going to start
Give 'em a
heating
steak.
up.
Give 'em a
It's a
steak.
long moment for us, I think.
I like Northwestern. I think they've played some decent teams actually pretty well this year. I'll take them.
I don't do this often, but I'm going to pick Northwestern as well. I don't think they're favored in very many games. I think they'll take advantage of Purdue here. I don't do that often. I don't like picking them, but I feel good about that. Okay, number 1, Oregon. Traveling to the big house. What a surprise. Michigan at home again. The House of Horrors. Oregon favored by 14.5.
Quack, quack. Go Ducks.
Is that the over-under of amount of fights that are going to happen during the game?
Not just in the tunnel.
I'm going to go Oregon. Please, God.
Yeah, I'm going to take Oregon laying the points.
Yeah, me too. I don't think that's enough points. It's actually over under how many times Mullings is going to kick a staffer from the other team. 14.5. I'm taking Oregon as well. Okay. In other years, this could have been a big game, but one team is really not holding up their end of the bargain here. We're traveling to Georgia. Stanford, I believe, is where they are located. The Florida Gators, who have played a little better as of late, are taking on the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia favored by 16.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia.
It's tough to bet against the dogs.
Yeah, I'll take Georgia.
Oh, you know what? Everyone on Georgia. I can't do it. I'm taking Georgia. You know what? I'm changing it. I'm going to Florida.
Okay, nice.
Someone's got to be a contrarian here. All right. Another big one in the Big Ten. This one in Corn Country, where the UCLA Bruins will take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Both teams coming in unranked. Nebraska minus 6.5.
Yeah, that tracks. I'll take Nebraska. I feel like I'm taking too many favorites, but I don't trust UCLA.
Yeah, it's a classic Big Ten matchup. I'm going to go Nebraska.
Yeah, I think Nebraska played pretty well last week, and I really don't like UCLA this year, so I'll take Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nebraska as well in this storied rivalry. UCLA, terrible. Nebraska at home, I feel like, is the right side. Okay, I'm not going to miss a Florida State game. This week, the Tar Heels are traveling to Tallahassee, home of my in-laws, to take on the Florida State Seminoles. The North Carolina Tar Heels favored by 2.5.
Give them a shot. Florida State. Why not?
I like Florida State this week as well.
I'm going to take North Carolina. I really don't like Florida State this year.
I don't blame you.
Right. I don't blame you either.
Yeah.
I am going to take the Noles getting the points here. Okay. A surging Texas A&M team ranked number 10 in the country, traveling to South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks. Texas A&M favored by 2.5.
Aggies. Gig 'em.
I like South Carolina. I think I bet on them every week.
I mean, it's fair. That's fair. I just
I'm
want
going to take them.
I think Texas A&M is going to lose in the SEC championship game, and I don't think they're going to lose up to that point. So I'm going to take Texas A&M.
I like that.
Yeah, hard to bet against the Aggies here. They've been playing well. The line seems funky to me.
Yeah,
something's
South Carolina can be a tough place to play.
Yeah. I still think Texas A&M is a much better football team. I'm going to go with the Aggies as well, but now I'm starting to feel like I'm taking too many favorites. Okay, another big one in the Big Ten. Wisconsin Badgers at Iowa, heading to Kinnick. They'll wave to the kids in the hospital at the start of the fourth quarter, whatever it is. They do that. Iowa favored by 3.
Just because I feel like I have to, I'm going to go Wisconsin, but I don't love that.
I guess I'll go Iowa.
Yeah, if this was at Wisconsin, I'd probably choose Wisconsin. They've been playing pretty good, but I'm going to take Iowa at home.
I would agree. If it was at Wisconsin, I think I take the home team. I'm going to take Wisconsin. Talked myself into it there. Okay. Two classic Big Ten teams duking it out in Seattle. The USC Trojans, 2.5-point favorites against the Washington Huskies.
Oh man, we gotta pick this one. I'll go Washington.
Same. I'm over USC.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go USC here. I think they find a way.
I am with you, Mr. Mustachio. I'm going USC as well. This will play like a Pac-12 game.
Yeah.
Pac-12 teams.
Yeah.
Okay, Trav, big one for you this week. Number 18 Pitt travels to the DFW to take on the 20th ranked SMU Mustangs. SMU at home, favored by 7.5.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this one. Mustangs.
Yep.
Why not? I'll go Mustangs as well.
I almost feel like the line is a little disrespectful to Pitt. I'm taking Pitt.
It is a little bit. Yeah.
I'm riding with Mustachio again here. I'm riding with the Nard Dog. I'm going with Pitt. I think SMU wins, but I think it's within a touchdown. Okay, probably the biggest game of the week outside of Michigan State, Indiana. Number 4, Ohio State travels to State College, Pennsylvania, to take on the 4th ranked. I'm sorry, I've got the rankings mixed up here. Penn State is. I have them both ranked as 4, but obviously one is 3, the other is 4. It doesn't really matter. Penn State and Indy Lions at home. Ohio State favored by 3.5.
It's a James Franklin big game. Ohio State.
Yeah.
But it's also a Ryan Day big game. Battle
Fair point.
is going on right now up in Happy Valley. Whiteout. James, I can't do James Franklin. I guess I'll go Ohio State.
Yeah, I hate the whiteout at noon. That's like it's brutal. They got to get this game a night game.
Yeah.
I don't think Ryan Day is the guy for the job. So I'm gonna go like against my gut and pick Penn State.
Okay. It'll be a cold day in hell before I bet on James Franklin in a big game. I'm going.
That's right.
All right. A big one in the NFC North. The Detroit Football Lions traveling to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love might play, might not play. Lions road favorites, favored by 3.5.
Detroit Football Lions.
Head him forward down the field.
Yeah, I picked against them when I was looking at the Minnesota game, but I'm not going to do it again. So I'm going to go with the Lions.
Good. We don't take kindly to betting against the Lions.
Yeah. This is going to be a tough one for the Lions. Road favorite scares me, but I don't think I've picked against them all year, so I'm going to pick the Lions as well. All right, and of course that takes us to the granddaddy of them all, East Lansing, 3:30 in the afternoon Saturday, the time that college football is meant to be played at, the golden hour of college football. Michigan State finally gets to play under the sun in East Lansing. The 13th ranked Indiana Hoosiers will travel to East Lansing to take on the Michigan State Spartans for the Old Brass Spittoon. Indiana favored by 8 in this one. Opened at 7, was at 7.5 this afternoon. Indiana favored by 8 now. Travis, the score.
I will say 23-20 Spartans.
You know what? It's going to be a shootout. 38-34 Spartans.
Bold.
I love the optimism. I think that we try to make it a shoot, or like we try to participate in a shootout, but are not able to. So I'm going to say 35-27 Indiana.
Ugh.
All right. Don't see that very often. Not on this show, at least. Nolan, probably the best guest out of the three of us here, or the four of us here. I will stay with the Spartan Spawns tradition, though. I'll pick MSU to cover and to win. I really do like them to cover. Let's go 27-24 MSU to win. There you have it. That'll do it for picks. And that will do it for episode 41 of the Spartan Savants podcast. Nolan at Bonafide Spartan, Mustachioed Spartan, a great Twitter picture, I must say. One of the best. If you get a chance, check it out. Good MSU commentary as well. Nolan, thanks for coming on. You're welcome. We will love to have you on in the future. If there's any other Spartan internet people out there, it's a very amusing bunch. If you ever want to come on, you're more than welcome. Just reach out to one of us, and we will make it happen. Nolan, any parting thoughts?
No, I just I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'd love to come back if you guys ever have a spot open, and love talking football. So I mean, I could sit here all night if I had to.
I think we all could. It was a pleasure to have you, Nick, Travis. Anything?
Go green, baby.
Just go get a win. Yeah,
let's get a win.
Yep, absolutely. Go white. Follow, like, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. I'm sure if you're a Prime member, you might even get ads free. The ads, you got to watch on YouTube because the podcast ads are crazy. It's like every 30 seconds, and it's Michael Vick DraftKings in your face until it's crazy. Trav, I know you don't have anything to do with that. No,
I have zero control over that.
Maybe just turn them off.
It fills it in. Well, then we don't get money.
Oh, well, the 30 cents that we get per episode?
It's better than nothing.
Okay. Still waiting at my check.
I told you it's there. You said to keep it.
Yeah. Put it towards the show. Yeah. Pay the StreamYard bill. All right. Go green, everybody.
Go white.
Go white.